Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CDL podcast channel. In this episode today, we're going to be talking about the crazy week of roster rumors that maybe didn't happen with the whole OpTic situation and LAG and Surge and just roster rumors floating all over the place. Even got London Royal Ravens in the mix. And then we're going to spend the rest of the episode doing a player tier list for all of the players following Major 1. So maybe you're going to be a little bit of recency bias in there with the New York guys ranking higher, maybe some players ranking low that normally wouldn't. So we're going to try to keep that out of there, but we're going to be doing the full-on player tier list, and that's going to be pretty much a majority of this episode. But before we get into any of that, Brock, how you doing today?
Oh, we're doing very well. Fine. Monday, because I did not have to work today, which is very good. But I also had to move a bunch of stuff into our apartment, so that was not very fun at all.
Yeah, holiday for most people. Most people are probably off work today. I had to work, but I wasn't really working that much. It wasn't that much to do, but we also finally are kind of done in Wisconsin here and most of the U.S. I guess we had a massive storm. It was like 60-mile-an-hour winds all the time and just snowing like a foot.
Like -30 out.
Yeah, -30. You go to start your car and you almost freeze on the way out. You're not supposed to be outside with your skin showing for more than like 30 minutes. You get frostbite, but I think it's actually supposed to get up to like 40 degrees here this week. So like it might actually not be completely frozen when we go outside.
Yeah.
But before we jump into this one, if you guys enjoy, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. We just hit like 820 subs, so we're cruising along to our next goal of 900. Hopefully we can jump up there soon. And if you guys are listening and are enjoying and aren't subscribed, that would be fantastic. If you enjoyed and you hit the sub button on the audio platforms, if you want to drop a follow, drop a 5-star review on there, it'd be greatly appreciated. We're seeing some pretty big uptick in analytics and performance on the audio platform, so that's great to see. Glad you guys are enjoying and listening on there. But Brock, we got some news to talk about. There's kind of some wild news, and I felt like by the time we were recording this, we'd have some roster changes to talk about. We really only have one that's basically all but confirmed, but technically hasn't been announced as of the time we hit record, and that's the London one. But first, news dropped pretty quickly after the major that OpTic were looking to make a change. It was rumored to be Pred, and then Arcitys' name came out, and then I guess they were saying like Hecz was roasting the CDL Scrim Intel page for posting it, but a lot of people were saying there was at least some truth to them looking into it, and now people are thinking maybe Dashy was trolling. Like we don't know what's going on, but something is off in the OpTic camp. It's weird.
Yeah. Hopefully it was fake and the OpTic camp knows it was fake, because if not, it's shocked.
Yeah, I just don't understand. If it was the first time, maybe you come back from it, but like if they're legit looking at Arcitys and Pred to join this roster and obviously dropping Illey and Dashy, and then it didn't work out. I mean, unless they're living under a rock, they clearly know that their teammates were looking to potentially trade them away or drop them, and now they weren't able to do it, so they have to come back and play again. And it's not like this is the first time this happened. They did basically drop them. They announced that they were free agents, and then they worked it out and came back. So like this being the second time it happened, I mean that's a tough look. It would be hard to keep the chemistry, and that team is known to be kind of like a vibes team.
That'd very awkward.
Pretty tough. Yeah, I mean that is just awkward. Like, hey, we already dropped you once. We tried to drop you a second time, but it didn't work out. Like, you ready to play again? Like,
yeah. So you guys ready to come back and play?
Yeah,
nothing ever happened.
It's just an awkward situation.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you like come back from that.
Yeah, I just don't think you don't. You have to get someone else in there.
I guess but I don't. From the sounds of it, it sounds like what RC said. I can find the tweet, but like basically, like somebody was tweeting at Arcitys and like, what did he say? Arcitys was like, "I'd love to play with a red duo," talking about Scump again, but it's just not a realistic thing. And then some guy said, "You killed my dreams. Thanks, Alec." And he said, "It wasn't me. I'm gonna be real. It might get me in trouble, but I wanted it. Obviously, those three are godlike, just not how things work with contracts. I owe LAG the same faith and trust they have in me to build something special with them. I'm sorry for dreams being killed." So, I mean, good on him to at least like know like he's gonna try to build something with LAG, even though maybe that's not where he wants to be, since they put a lot of faith and money into him. But that is rough. So basically, he's confirming that he wanted to get there. I mean, I would assume that's what his end goal is always, would be to get to OpTic, since he already played there, and that's what most players' end goal is. So it does sound like he legit looked at it, I guess.
Yeah, I just if he wanted to go there, I don't know why he would take the 3 year from LAG, I guess.
Yeah, I that was just a weird thing to me too. I mean, I guess it's because LAG has so much money, and he may have believed in those three players, and like either way, maybe he was like, "I'll get my bag, get my 3 years, and like they'll be able to attract good players, even if it's not in the first year."
Yeah,
Because
true.
like you would think a player like LAG is known as the org with the most money because they definitely have the most money. They have the billionaire owner that's the owner of the Rams,
Hmm.
uh, and like they probably that would. I mean, first of all, they're known to be like a pretty good org. Like all the players that have played for them, especially recently, have like talked about how good of an org they are, and they treat the players very well. Like Slasher's pretty outspoken, saying they treated the players very well and everything. So they've got the most money to offer, and you've got a foundational piece like Arcitys. Like they seem like they'd be a pretty attractive destination. So maybe that's why he signed it. But yeah, like if he knew all along, like he wanted to get back to OpTic, you'd think you just keep signing 1 years until maybe you can force your way back onto the team.
Yeah, definitely.
But I guess maybe after he saw Dashy re-signed and everything, he was like, well, they're going to keep Dashy forever. And
Hmm.
obviously him and Dashy wouldn't play together because they both want to be main ARs.
Yeah, true.
So maybe it's that. But and then Pred, the whole Pred rumor, he was pretty silent during it all. But like I really thought that was going to happen because I saw a report that like the people that like own Seattle are like 40 million in debt or something, or lost $40 million this past year.
Yeah.
So maybe they could sell off Pred for a bag and cut some of their losses. But
You
obviously,
like
from like a in-game standpoint, it makes no sense to sell off Pred because he's literally you can't replace him.
yeah, literally.
It's like it
Make a
would make no
big off him
sense.
though.
Yeah, like they could make a bag, yeah, selling him, but I mean, obviously from a gameplay standpoint, it would make literally zero sense. It would just be because OpTic came in and offered an absolute bag to them to take him off their hands and help Scump in his final year. That'd be the only way that would happen. But
Yeah.
I thought that would have been a super team. The Arcitys moving Scump to a flex and having a Pred and Shotzzy sub duo. I thought that would have been a legit super team if that was able to form.
Yeah, definitely. Just think about the if Pred actually goes to OpTic and Seattle's just done for them basically because you can't
Yeah, I
replace
mean,
them no matter who you bring in.
and like initially I want to talk about who they'd pick up, but now it's really not worth it if it's not happening. But I said to you like in this offseason, I don't think we ever talked about it on the podcast, but I thought Pred was going to replace Scump on OpTic.
I
That
think
was
you maybe said it once to me.
Yeah, that was kind of my pick. Like I thought Pred was going to replace him because Pred obviously extremely talented, young SMG with a pretty big personality and like good. He's good when he gets in interviews and on camera and stuff. So it just like seems
Mhm.
like fantastic player, top tier sub, potential expiring contracts. Maybe pull a new audience in for OpTic because he's obviously not a North American player. So maybe pulling a new audience that OpTic's really never had. With the APAC region, and then um, great in like videos and interviews and stuff and on camera. So I thought he was the perfect replacement. And I thought, oh my god, he's not even going to replace Scump. He's actually going to play with him for a little bit. And now it's not
Yeah,
looking like it's going to happen. So I guess
it's up
the
in the
gist of it
air.
is let's see what the hell happens with OpTic now because it seems like it's a bad situation for Scump's final year for
I
this to all
know.
come out.
Hopefully they figure something out. 'Cause we don't want to see Scump go out losing and losing.
Now, other things we got for roster news: Scraps. Pretty much all but confirmed is subbing in for Paul on London. Kind of an odd one, I guess.
Yeah, like
Like
weird.
Ben was saying on the flank and stuff that like there's something like the players like from what he was saying. Obviously, I don't have any inside info on it, but from what Ben was saying, apparently like there's like some serious like relationship issues with Paul and the rest of the team.
Jeez.
Like I don't know if Paul's like a bad teammate or, but that may like his New York teammates like Hydra and Kismet were like
Don't
both
like him
tweeted like
either.
laughing emojis.
Hmm.
Like when like the rumor came out that he got dropped, and I think they deleted him, and then like apparently all of the players were like talking at the tournament about how much they like hated playing with him or something, and like I don't know.
Bad
Um,
vibe, bad vibes, I guess.
so yeah, we don't know the whole story on that, but sounds like there's like something with Paul that they don't like playing with as a teammate, or I don't know if it's in game or teammate or what. I think with Ben saying he doesn't want to say it, or like Zuma and them saying like they didn't want to say what it was, I would think it's like an out of game like personality thing.
Yeah,
Because like if it was
probably.
something in game that they didn't like, they would just say like he plays like this, we don't like that.
Yeah. You don't want to go to him too hard outside the game.
Yeah, in case it's something that maybe doesn't need to be mentioned or like something personal. But
Hmm.
um, that's interesting. Scraps can be a fantastic player. We just haven't seen him play in so long. He didn't really play at all last year, even in challengers. Like maybe a little bit towards the end of the year, but
Yeah,
He's playing Warzone stuff.
Let's play in Cold War, right, for a little bit.
Yeah, he played, I think, pretty much the
And
whole year on Paris.
he was pretty. He's decent.
I mean, like dating back to like World War II, he was really, really good in that game. And then he was also pretty damn good in Black Ops 4 when he eventually got to that Faze roster.
Yeah.
Like overall, he's a very talented player, and I guess like London is definitely missing slaying upside, and Scraps has the potential to bring you slaying upside, and he also fits that whole bill of like they really like to have an all EU team.
Mhm. Yeah,
But I'll be interested because Scraps is a very high ceiling player, but hasn't played in a while, so we'll see if it takes him a little bit to catch up.
yeah. Be definitely interesting to see though.
Yeah, we also we had Parasite returning to play in challengers after his short retirement. He had to sub in for that team at Major One, and I guess that reignited his passion. So he's playing again. And I don't remember exactly who it was. I'd have to go back and find it. I don't think it's that big of a deal because we don't talk too much challengers in here. But I remember he had like a pretty good team. Like I think he was playing with like Fellow, maybe,
Mm.
and I can't remember exactly who it was, but it was like a lot of like former pros that I recognized names. I was like, yeah, I mean, maybe like Johnny or John or I don't remember who it was.
I think it was Fellow. I just don't really know.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly who it was either, but I remember seeing there's a lot of former pros and like a pretty solid team. I was like, yeah, he landed on his feet pretty well there, finding a solid team.
Yeah, he should go by Doug.
Yeah, go pick up. Doug has a good roster though. He's got Shawnee and what is he going by now? Kremp
Crimp and
and
Beans.
yeah, and Beans. Beans is a really good player. Doug's got a pretty good team.
Yeah, you see, Parasite played against his old teams. And holy crap! I'm actually pretty good at this game, so I started
Yeah,
playing again.
he beat the team he was coaching, and he's like, yeah, I got to start playing.
He's like, wait a minute.
All right, last thing before. Well, we got two more things, I guess. Saints retired. Pretty legendary career. Once again, we might have a lot of viewers here that are just CDL era viewers, and you might think Saints is trash because he really only played in um a few matches in MW on that Aches team on LAG, and then he was out of there. But Saints, one of the OGs, really all time great player, playing since like MW3 and earlier. Like
Yeah,
one of his event wins here is a game puzzle Landtastic MW3 land with Nadeshot, Nameless, Solo, and Saints was his roster.
it's so
That
long
was in
ago.
that was in 2011 on MW3, and the grand prize he won was $1,000.
That's some passion right there. Fight for the
Yeah,
passion.
and like Saints underrated, like one of those guys when you think about like back in the day when they had like an actual role that was like Slayer. Their role was to literally just run around and get kills like SMG Slayer. I mean,
Mhm.
Saints was up there with the best of them, even through the jetpack games.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what Saints was known for. Just 1.2s, just dropping 1.1s, 1.2s. Like he was up there with the guys like Scump and John and Apathy. Like back in the day, he's a Slayer.
especially in Black Ops 3 where he's frying every match.
Yeah. Like
The
I'm sorting
Luminosity
here
team.
by I want to see I want to see his combined stats here. I'm on a thing. Yeah, it's just showing me his ghost stats for whatever reason. I don't know why it's only showing me his ghost stats, but like in ghosts alone, he had multiple events 1.26, 1.21, 1.2, 1.18. His worst event in ghosts was MLG Anaheim, and he had a 1.06.
Pretty damn good
Like,
player.
I mean, and constantly, that's what he was every tournament, like 1.1 from like really, I can remember from like BO2 all the way through like IW. The guy was a walking 1.1 or better with an SMG, like literally one of the best SMG talents. A lot of people said that like his struggle was he was a little bit of a toxic teammate when he was younger, maybe like get a little angry at times.
Yeah.
Not the best at controlling it. And that honestly probably hurt him in his career because like I don't think anybody make an argument. Like the talent was definitely there. And he was a good search and destroy player always. Like he had everything.
Yeah, if he's a little toxic, people don't want to play with him.
Yeah, and like what I remember too, I mostly remember him on those LG teams with like Octane,
Yeah.
like Octane and Looney, I think was on the team, and like Slacked that team.
Hmm.
The Octane Looney Slacked Saints team.
Yeah, I
Let's
remember
see.
the Black Ops 3 teams like Study and Nameless.
Yeah, Study Nameless, and I'm pretty sure it was somebody with another S, wasn't it? I think it was three S's and Nameless. Study Saints. Was it
Uh,
Slacked?
it might have
No,
been
Slack. No,
Slag.
Slacked is on
No,
Rise.
it was Saints and someone else, but they were
Uh,
they were pretty good.
I'm gonna look up Black Ops 3 Luminosity.
Might have been selected for a little bit. Maybe not
Maybe it
though.
was Slacked. Slack was on an LG forever. Spacely.
Oh yeah, Spacely.
I knew it was three S's. It was for a while there. That roster was Spacely, Duddy, Saints, and Nameless, and they were like always top 8 in Black Ops 3. But Saints was always leading the charge on that team, just slaying.
Yep.
But he retired. Pretty legendary career. He also like most recently won Challenger Champs in Cold War. And he was always like, it was always like Saints was on a top 4 to top 6 team, and he would always be there around Sunday, and like just a legendary overall career. And I feel like somebody that kind of gets forgotten because he doesn't have a ton of event wins, but like it's pretty hard to do what he did for like 6, 7, 8+ years, just constantly being on a top 6 team.
In that era of all the good players and teams.
Yeah, and when there was like multiple teams, you weren't just guaranteed into the league with the franchise spots. You had to like actually qualify your way into the league and everything. Like
had to earn it.
Yeah, an all-time great player. Kind of sad to see him retire. Probably a guy that could easily still be doing it if we were in the CWL era.
Yeah.
Where like you could play through open bracket and stuff. He'd probably be constantly making it
even-
and maybe on a team. But he's one of those guys that probably got killed by the age thing.
Mhm.
Like
Or even like if the CDL expansion teams come in, he could be on a team probably.
yeah, great veteran slaying SMG you could have on a team. He really, I truly believe, got killed by his age because I think when people go to pick up challenger players, they see Saints. He's been consistently dropping a 1.1. He's a beast, but they kind of like are like, he's a known commodity. Let's pick up this 18-year-old. And like,
Mhm.
think about all the guys that got picked up last year, like Johnny and who's the other guy in Paris? Jimbo. Like
18.
like when John gets picked up, even like all these
Yeah.
players, I guarantee you Saints is a better player than Jimbo and Johnny. And like all these random players that get picked up, like Saints is like when Fire 40 got picked up
Oh
to
no.
play SMG on Paris, like
Yeah.
Saints is better than all these guys that they're just randomly picking up. But I feel like people want to take shots on 18-year-olds because like
Yep.
they're trying to hit the next Simp.
Yeah.
And it works
very hard to
sometimes.
do.
It works sometimes though. Like you get your guys like Pred and Standy and Hydra and all these young players. They hit. They definitely hit sometimes, but like sometimes like if you have a good team, you just need to plug in a good SMG. Like why not pick up a guy like Saints? But anyways, probably enough on him. But man, I'm sad to see him go because he is an all-time great player and like one of those players that I remember from like my early days watching COD as being one of the best.
Yeah, definitely.
Then our last thing, kind of a fun thing here for news. The CDL trading cards from Upper Deck came out. I got my hands on a box set. That's something we don't really talk about a lot in here, but like another like business type thing I do. I trade a lot of like sports memorabilia, signed jerseys and football helmets and like sports cards and stuff like that. So when I saw these were coming out, I knew I had to grab a couple boxes just because I already trade sports memorabilia so much that I was like, yeah, I need to get my hands on these. And I got my hands on one box at the local hobby shop I go to, and I tweeted out the Cheen auto I pulled. I also pulled a Kleenex auto, solo ink, and then I got a couple more boxes on the way. I might stash or maybe open one, or maybe I'll end up opening both. Who knows? But I got a couple more on the way. Those are pretty cool though. I like that. I hope they continue to do that. It's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, I got the money chain auto.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool thing though. Like they have cards for like everything. I mean, they have like Fortnite cards that are just like the skins in game. Obviously, there's cards for every sport. That's been a thing since long before I was alive. Like baseball cards, basketball cards, that stuff. But I think it's kind of cool. Like esports is to become a legit like mainstay thing as big as sports. Like that's a part of sports is every sport. I mean, from racing to soccer and baseball and basketball, they all have their own sports cards that go with it. So if esports is to get that big, like that's kind of a part of it. And Overwatch did it way back like 2017, 18 on like the inaugural season.
Yeah.
And they hadn't really done it since. So hopefully COD continues it. I'm excited for those boxes they're supposed to get here tomorrow. Excited to maybe open one of those. I'll post a picture. I'm hoping to pull that formal Crim and Scump trio auto or the Zuma attached Clay trio auto. That's what I'm hoping to pull.
That'd be a good ass one.
Yeah, but that's pretty much all we got for news. Those boxes are sick. If you guys can get your hands on one of the hobbies, I'd recommend it. Probably go to your local hobby shop, but that's all we got for news. About 20 minutes, and then that's going to leave us with 40 minutes to an hour to do our player tier list. So we're going to hop out of this little recording, and in a few seconds here, we'll be back with the tier list on the screen, and we'll jump right into that.
Yep.
All right, so here we go. We've got the player tier list here up on the screen. As you can see, it's kind of similar to the last one that we did. We got the S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and D tier, and then the number next to it indicates how many players we can put in that tier. So we can only put a maximum of 6 players in S tier. So there may be maybe we think 10 players are S tier right now, but we're gonna limit ourselves to only being able to put 6 in there. Then we get 12 players in A tier, 14 in B tier, 12 in C tier, and 4 in the D tier. And at some point there might be 20 players in A tier. If we think somebody's A, we're just gonna throw them in there, even if that gives us 15, and then we'll just kind of trim off the fat and put those guys down to B and slide things around. But we might end up with 7 players in S tier at some point, and we'll have to move one out, or 14 players in A and have to move them out. That's how we're going to do it. And these rankings are based kind of heavily on Major 1, I guess. There might be some recency bias to guys from New York and Seattle who just won the event or took second, and there may be a little bit more hate towards teams I don't know, London, who bottomed out really early, or teams like that, or OpTic, who bottomed out early. Maybe those players might be lower than you think they should be, but we're going to rank the players based on that and kind of how we see them going forward. So where they're at right now, and maybe going into Major 2, kind of a hybrid, not maybe projecting them all the way out to champs where we think they'll be, but basically where they're at now / kind of where their stock is heading into Major 2, kind of more of a short-sighted form for now and slightly into the future. All right. Let's give you the first pick, Brock. Who you want to start with? We got all the players on the board. Who we want to put in first?
Ooh, we're going with Brack.
All right, Brack, a guy that I believe we probably had in D tier to start the year, one of our 4 players, just because he was so unknown. Yeah. So unknown, but I don't know. Where do you think? I feel like he's improved from D tier.
He actually was playing actually pretty damn good.
Yeah, that he played very well in that second OpTic match to make it out of their group. He played very well in that match. After you guys body shot.
I kind of want to put him in B just for now.
Yeah, I think he's B at the highest, but potentially a C tier player.
Yeah.
I feel like he definitely is out of the D tier, but I feel like B is the highest and C is the lowest. I think we may drop him to C, but I think starting him in B isn't wild. I think he definitely could be put up there.
Yeah, overall KD 1.07.
Yeah. So I think he was a good player, and I think he was a catalyst to helping Florida get out of the group, which I would say, considering that group they were in with OpTic and Toronto at the Major 1, I would say it's a plus for them to get out of that group, like we said last week. So, and Brack was maybe the best player on their team overall on the weekend. Yeah. So I feel like putting him in B tier as a team that made out of groups is fair for now.
Yeah.
Let's go with somebody. I was gonna say Scump, but I want to maybe save him for a little bit. Let's go with one of the LAG boys. Let's go with Arcitys. Maybe probably the highest rated LAG boy right now.
Alec, yeah.
I can't even find him on here. I said his name. There he is, still in his Faze gear. I'm looking for purple. Arcitys typically an A tier, maybe even teetering on S tier player at times. Right now, though, stock is definitely down. I think his teammates may go in D tier, but I definitely don't think he's D tier. I think could even make an argument for B tier, but with the way LAG is playing right now, it's pretty hard for me to put him any higher than C.
Yeah, that's kind of fair right now.
I threw him in C. I'm willing to hear an argument for B if you want to, but I just feel like currently, and also like we said, we're looking a little bit ahead to Major 2. If LAG doesn't make changes, I can't see this team playing much better. So looking ahead, I don't think he gets much better, and currently he's not in great form. So I think C tier is pretty fair for him.
Yeah, he's I would say C's overall KD right now is 0.95.
Yeah,
struggling.
And I mean, it just feels a little bit disrespectful and wild to see him down there in C and Brack above him in B right now. Like that's just a wild start to the tier list because Arcity's all time obviously an A or S tier player, but right now things aren't going the best for him. And honestly, his team stock isn't one of those teams that I could see rising anytime soon unless some major changes are made or unless all of a sudden he's on OpTic.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go with Draza.
Okay, he's a polarizing figure in the community, that's for sure. A lot of people really hate this dude. He brings passion.
Here's my thing about all LET boys, y'all. They're all mid. like
Yeah.
mid B tier, mid B tier.
Yeah. They're like B. Maybe you can make an argument for one of them going to A. Maybe you can make arguments for him going to C. Like Kenny did not have a very good weekend or really a good major one or stage one at all.
Yeah, they're all KDs like very similar to each other.
Yeah. What's Straw's at right now?
What he's the highest at a .99, Octane
Yeah.
0.96, Envoy .97, and Kenny .89.
Yeah. To me, they're all like B tier. Maybe C for some of them. Draza may be the highest KD, but I feel like I don't know. I don't feel like Draza's really playing that well. I feel like he could be a B, but I could also see him being a C. I could see this whole LAT team being a C tier, but they also have placed what, 6th?
Mhm.
So it's like it's hard to say that they're all like C tier or how they play 6th. I think Octane right now is down pretty far for me, but I think one Thieves player probably has to go into B. I could see you making an argument for Draza, but man, he's also had some just absolute stinker performances where I'm like, ugh.
Yeah,
Like I don't feel great about putting anybody in LAT and B, but I feel like somebody has to from that team.
yeah, because I don't think anyone's at A at the moment.
No, neither do I. Do you think Draza and B? Maybe he's like a candidate to be one of our movers if we start to load up the B tier.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Very well could be actually.
Let's put him in B tier for now. Then let's go to a player that I think some people could argue is S tier right now. He's up there. He had a very, very, very good stage one. I think he's an A tier though, and that's Afro.
Afro,
I think he's currently, what is he sitting at? You got the stats up. I'm manning the screen here with the tier list. You got the stats up. I think Afro's in like
Afro,
top 5 KDs.
yeah, 1.14.
Yeah,
Same
out
as
of an
same as
SMG.
Scrappy. 2700 hard point per 10 damage.
Yeah, I think Afro's got to be an A. I do think looking at this
Potentially,
list,
he could
he could
be.
be an S tier player though.
They're all like super close up there. Holy
I'd say
crap.
team success maybe lowers him a little bit because Minnesota has struggled.
Yeah.
But
I would say A tier and S for now.
let's throw him an A, and all of a sudden, maybe if we're not feeling that there's 6 players that can go above him, he could be a candidate to maybe slide up. But I feel like he's very firmly in A easily at a minimum because he's been very good so far this year.
Yeah.
Despite the team not maybe doing the best.
Mm-hmm. All right. Where is he? Spart. He's in D. Lowest
Yeah.
overall KD. LAG sucks. What else?
Yeah, he's been probably arguably the worst player on the worst team.
Yeah.
So that justifies D tier, which is like it sucks for me to say because like I mean the one event you ever been to in your life, he was the MVP of.
I
So
know.
in your live event, he's like the best player ever in your experience because
Sup? I know.
the one event you went to, he won MVP.
He's godlike with that Volk.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say about this LAG team. Like it's a mess. You could legitimately make an argument that like 3 or 4 of their players could just fill up our D tier because their team is so bad right now.
Yes, Spar's
And
at
I
0.8 KD and Neptune at 0.82. That's just not gonna cut it.
and also like we said, like Spart has a lot of talent. Like I don't think this guy's just a D tier player that doesn't deserve to be in the league. Like I think he has a lot of talent. It's just like for some reason I don't know if these teams aren't for him or maybe he's not as good as we like envision him to be. But like it's like every time he gets a shot, it's like he struggles when he gets like a full-time shot. But I
Yeah,
think he's a good player. So like I don't know. It's just maybe this team comp isn't for him. But it is a tough look because like he was so adamant that this trio of Neptune, Spartan, Hook would work. Like they wanted to play together so bad, and it hasn't worked so far, to say the least.
yeah. He's a big momentum type player.
Yeah, I mean he got it rolling in that tournament we were at, and he won it. The
Yeah,
Volk.
he was hyped up, standing up
Yeah,
every series.
yeah.
He ain't doing that now.
No, let's go with his teammate right away. We just talked about him, and you mentioned him. Let's just throw him in D tier, unless you're
Yeah,
gonna argue against it.
he's
Neptune.
not any better.
Yeah, Neptune. Let's just throw him down there. Let's get that out of the way. Another player though that I think like has potential to be a C, even B tier player. Um,
Mhm.
I think he can be a good player, but it's just I don't know. Like something is just not clicking with this team with him, and it wasn't clicking with New York. And he had an okay
Doesn't
year his rookie year on Florida.
yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't
He's
know.
talented, but I don't know. He just it's not clicking. That's all we have to say for LAG and the boys right now. So I'm gonna throw him
Yeah,
in D tier as well.
they're not clicking at the moment. All
No,
right. Oh, let's see. Where should we go next? Let's go Illey.
Oh boy, I think we had him in our B tier to start the year. I probably the worst player on OpTic right now.
Yeah, I think we should put him in C.
I agree. I think Illey is in the C tier right now. I still think he brings some intangibles, and he's had some moments this year
Mhm.
where he's looked pretty solid, and he's had some good maps for OpTic. But I think he's the worst player on their team right now, just based on the eye test alone. I think Scump's been their best player,
Yeah,
and I
what's
think
new?
Shotzi's probably number 2. Maybe Dashy. I think Shotzi and Dashy are pretty close right now. You can make the argument for either, but I think Scump's been their best player, and Illey's been clearly their worst player.
Yeah.
And they went 2-2 in qualifiers, if you're counting that rocker match, obviously, and then they didn't make it out of their group, so it's tough to put the worst player right now on their team any higher than C tier.
Yeah, bottom half of the KD at 0.94. Doesn't
And then
get
like
doesn't
out of
get
the
20 kills
ordinary,
per 10 hard point.
yeah. And I wouldn't be that concerned with like a 0.94 out of Illey because like in general, like a 0.94 on this OpTic team, typically, if Shotzi and Scump and Dashy are slaying like they normally will, that's like what Illey's role is.
Yeah.
0.94 and a lot of dirty work. So like I wouldn't really say that that's like too much of a negative thing. But the issue is the 0.94 is coming with a lot of bad performances on respawn maps, and it's also coming with a lot of losses. They're not winning the maps, so
Mhm.
it's a little in context. The 0.94 isn't the normal Illey like 0.95 that he has.
Yeah.
Okay, next player. We got 2 in A, or 1 in A, 2 in B, 2 in C, and 2 in D. Let's get a player that I think is S, and I don't think there's any argument. I don't even think we need to have a discussion. I think Pred is an S tier player.
Yep.
Can make an argument that he's the best
Good
player in
old
the game right now.
Fred.
He's certainly up there in that best player in the game conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't even think we need to really talk about it. I think Pred is an S tier player, and I don't think anybody will argue that.
I won't put 1 through KD overall this year so far.
And man, I think you can make an argument that like if you took every player like playing their best hardpoint map, I think Pred might have the biggest impact on the game. Like
Yeah.
every player in the league was playing their best hardpoint map. I think Pred might be the one that has the biggest impact because like when he's feeling it and hitting routes, the pace he's playing at and the pressure he's applying, it's like Lamar has the easiest job in the world when Pred's playing like that because like when Pred and Sib are hitting that pace and just slaying out, Lamar just sits in the hill, goes 10 and 10 with 3 minutes. Like
And get the 2Ps here and there.
yeah, like he doesn't really have to do anything. When Pred hits that form, I mean, he might be the best player in the world. I still think like if I'm starting a team, he might be my first pick right now. That's how highly I think of Pred, and he's carried it over so far. From Vanguard, we wanted to see maybe it could be a fluke because it was his first year, but I don't think anybody thought it was a fluke. And so far, he's proved that yeah,
He's
he's
showing out
that
again.
dude. He's that dude.
He's that dude.
Yeah, so Pred's S tier. I don't think there's any argument. If anybody's arguing that in the comments, you're wild for that.
He is him so far.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, where is this next guy I want to put in A tier? I cannot find him. Priesta.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. I think that whole New York team damn near has to be A tier plus right now.
Yeah, they're all frying in the tournament, major one.
I can't find Priesta. My
Is
God,
he not on here?
he is, but I can't find him right now. I'm blind. There he is. It's throwing me off because he's in his rocker uniform.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
Yeah, because they don't have like the updated headshots, at least that I had found yet. So I have all these like players in their old uniforms. But yeah, Priesta, I'm throwing him in A next to an actual rocker player, Afro, right now. I agree fully, though. We knew always that Priesta had A, if not S tier talent. He just hasn't performed, and I agree with you. He's definitely A.
Prove the haters wrong at the major,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
I'm in full agreement. A tier for him. Oh man, so we got a pretty good spread right now. Let's go with maybe somebody that's a little bit tough to rank right now because he didn't get to play a full major. He was out with sickness, I
Wake?
believe it was. Big Wake.
Yeah,
In
it's
terms
like
of online qualifiers, though, he was like Boston's best player and had them looking like a team that could compete for a good finish. Obviously, at the major in his one series he played, I don't think his stats look the greatest, but I feel like that can be kind of discounted because it's not like Big Wake is like a LAN choker. We've seen him perform great plenty of times on LAN. I think whatever it was, he just wasn't feeling the best, and that maybe affected his play in that series. But I think Big Wake's a B tier, if not A tier player right now.
Yeah, from what we've seen so far, definitely.
He's teetering though. I feel like since his team didn't make it out, and like I guess in that one series, even though I say I want to discount it, like maybe we put him like top of B, and if we don't find enough players we want A, we move him up, but I feel like top B, unless if you're making the argument for A, I'm okay with it for now, but I feel like he's top B, low A.
I would say B. B for now.
Yeah. I'm good with B. I think I will say if you want to do a little bit of projecting and we don't have enough players we like in A, I feel like projecting forward, I think Big Wake could be in that A tier range post Major 2 when we do this again.
Yeah, he's got a 1.0 KD on the season already. 2,800 damage per 10 hardpoint.
Yeah, like would you be shocked if all of a sudden Boston finishes like top 6, top 4 at the Major and Big Wake has a 1.2?
I would not be shocked because that's what he did on Florida.
Yeah, like Big Wake is a killing machine. That's what he
He's
does.
usually very consistent in the killing aspect.
And I think he plays a role on Boston where he's going to slay pretty consistently.
Fits him well.
Teammates he has around him, and yeah, I think he's a candidate to move up, but I'm okay with B tier for now.
All right, should I put this other guy? I feel like I should put this other guy in S.
Yeah, if he's a no argument guy, do it.
Sib.
Yeah, you're going with this duo. I thought you were going to say somebody else, but
No, I'll go Sib. I'm looking same KD 1.13 as Pred, same hardpoint kills. Has the most hardpoint per 10 damage at 3,100 in the league. Just absolutely killing machine with Pred.
I was really sad when the whole rumors were coming of Pred going to OpTic for that reason, that these two would maybe have to split up.
I know.
Because
they're
this
so
duo
good together.
is, like, I want to see this duo for a career together, kind of like a Simp and Abezy have been. I'd maybe like to see them get a little bit more consistent teammates. I think Accuracy is actually a very good main AR. I think he gets a little bit too much disrespect. I mean, we're probably going to disrespect him later and put him in like C or something as I say this. But like, I do think I like to joke. Like when we talk with like our friends and stuff about Accuracy, like I like to joke that he's trash, but Accuracy is not trash. Like I don't like to joke about it as much as I used to because people like legitimately like on Twitter like think that Accuracy is some horrible player. Also could be because like Hecz kind of pumps it up, but even Hecz knows that Accuracy's not a horrible player. Like he does a lot for his team. It's just sometimes he does have those maps where it's like you look up the scoreboard and Accuracy's 12 and 28.
It's like, what is he doing?
It's like, oh, that's rough. But like then in the game 5, he'll get you a 1v3 when it's 4-4 and it'll win you the map 5, or he'll get you a 1v2 round 11. And it's like he makes so many winning plays that he offsets it. But like Sib and Pred, these two, like when these two are on, they drag this team to victories when Mac and Accuracy aren't performing. Like I think Sib is S tier, and I think this duo is probably currently the most talented duo in the entire league.
So good.
They're so good. That's why like when they're breaking up, I don't want them to break up. Like I wanted this team to add Arcitys in the offseason because I do think he is a pack punch over Lamar, like Hecz always says. But like I'd like to see this team get two. I think Mac and Accuracy are good players, but I want these two to get two consistent teammates because they could go on a dynasty type run, in my opinion. That's how good I think these two are.
No, another rivalry in the league. Be good.
I also think, don't you think that these two are probably going to be pretty mainstays? I wouldn't be shocked if after every major we do this and they're in the S tier almost every time or top of A. I think these two are going to be up there pretty much.
Because if they're not basically S tier, they ain't winning.
Or if these two aren't playing like S tier players, they're probably finishing last.
Yeah.
All right. I thought you were going to say somebody else for S tier, but I'll save that guy for a little bit, I guess. Don't want to put back-to-back players up there. Let's go back to LAT. Let's go to Octane, a guy that, once again, maybe S tier is where we typically put him. He's usually the top main AR or up there, but we usually try to get at least one main AR and S. Definitely Octane is not up there. He has maybe been the worst player on Thieves along with Kenny. It's as shocking as that is to say. I think Octane might be a C tier player right now.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. 0.96. Not doing a lot. 2,400 damage only per hardpoint.
He did have some big maps. I remember. I can't remember exactly who it was against, but I remember him having big maps to close out a series.
It's like have a big map then 3 bad maps. It's very inconsistent.
It's like another guy that like projecting to Major 2. I don't know if he's going to get a lot better. I think you're going to see improvements where he maybe is like B tier by the end of Major 2, but I think come Major 3, Major 4, all of a sudden we're going to see him start trickling back up to S tier.
Yeah, he's a late game type player.
He always has been though. Like in recent years, like he always starts out maybe a little slower, then he picks it up. I think he's going to pick it up. But I think for now, putting him in C is fair.
Yeah,
but definitely. I think putting him in C is fair. But again, the players we have in C tier right now: Arcitys, Illey, and Octane is just, and then they're below Awakening, Brack, and Draza. Like the hierarchy in my head of where I think players are at, like is telling me like why are those two not flipped?
Yeah,
Like those guys in C tier are, in my opinion, those 3 guys in C tier are better than the 3 players in B tier. But like,
a little weird.
it just looks weird in my brain. I don't know. It's just weird to see.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go with Scumper Jumper.
Probably the best player on OpTic right now. Although OpTic, not a great team right now.
Not the best team, but he's still putting up the numbers for his team.
I think you could have made an S tier argument for Scump if we were talking in the qualifiers. But I think
Yeah,
their performance on LAN at the major hurts them, drops him from S. But I still think he has to be A tier. That's where I would put him at.
I was hovering over A as well.
Yeah.
Best
Let's
player
throw
right
him
now on
up
the
in A.
team.
Yeah. And it's
One
not only
point.
best player on a bad team currently, but he also like he's been a top player in the game, especially in the qualifiers, and like
Mhm.
maybe didn't have the best LAN performance, but I don't think anybody doubts Scump's ability to perform on LAN.
Yeah, usually very consistent overall.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I would say Scump A, move it on.
Yep.
Let's go. Man, we haven't done anybody from London yet. Let's talk about Paul. I feel like he's the easiest one to rank. I mean, some of you
All
might be
Hecz.
questioning why we have him on the list because Scraps is subbing in for him, but it hasn't been announced yet. We don't want to throw Scraps in there. Like we've seen Paul play, and I've seen enough of Paul, and he is getting benched for a reason. I feel like he could be added to our D tier.
Yeah. Actually not been playing as bad as I thought he would overall.
Yeah, but there's something that he's
They don't
doing.
like about him.
Yeah. And I would agree. He is another one of those players that like his numbers, we saw it last year, like his numbers are always going to be like a 0.95. That's where Paul's like kind of sweet spot is. And like even when he's playing really well, he's around a 0.95 and he's just doing a lot for the team. But I mean, right now you've got guys like Asim who are doing also a lot for the team, just putting up much better numbers and just look better on the map. And clearly there's something off with this team and Paul, and he's getting subbed out. So I feel like it's a easy cop out for us to throw him in D tier.
Yeah, it's fair. Um, let's go with Prolute.
Pro loot with the one like non-headshot picture that we have.
Yeah.
Uh, I think we probably had him in D tier because of the unknown commodity, but his play online was very poor. But I think he played himself up to a C tier.
Yeah, on LAN he played pretty damn good.
Yeah, team gets the top 6, their best performance, Legion's best performance in a tournament in a long time. It's that like random final they made in a home series in MW.
Oh, that what place did they get then? 'Cause I didn't really watch that year.
They got second at one of those random like home series where you had to win like 2 series to make it to the final.
Oh,
They had second in their team. It was like the team with like Dens and Luca and Shocks, and I think Kismet might have been on that team.
they made the miracle run.
Yeah, it was like the APAC team with Kismet and I can't remember who the other player was. It wasn't a good team though.
Yeah.
But Prolude, I think he's C tier. You agree?
Yeah, I think he's C tier. He stepped up
Improved.
on LAN.
I feel like C tier is going to be kind of a place where he hovers, and he'll
Yeah.
have his pop off moments. But if he can stay consistently C tier and have a lot of like B tier type moments, like might be all they need from him to be a consistent like top 8 team.
Yeah. That'd be the best player on the team, but he'd be the third best.
Yeah, he's got to continue to be at least pretty solid.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go dip back into LAG. Let's just wrap them up because I just don't want to talk about him that much. Let's talk about Hook.
Oh, Hook.
Hook, player that, man,
Frustrating.
frustrating to watch because like we know talent wise he's an S tier talent. And I think we've said like a lot of guys are maybe an A tier, S tier talent. Like Hook is one of those guys that truly has like one of the few guys in the league. There aren't a lot of them. Like there are a lot of players here that could hit S tier for a short time, but Hook is probably one of only a handful of players on this list that at his peak could be a consistent top 5 player, but he just hasn't had that form in quite some time. He really hasn't hit that form in a long time.
I waited for it and then it just doesn't show. Doesn't
Doesn't show
happen.
up, and like LAT picked him up and paid a fat buyout to try to make that happen. Like the last time we really saw him in that form was like stage 1 of Cold War on Empire when he was like an MVP candidate.
Yeah.
That was like the last time we saw it, and haven't seen it since. But I feel like he's been the second best player in LAG, probably behind Arcitys, and that alone can get him into C tier. And just out of the respect I have for him as a player, that gets him to C tier. But man, he's teetering on D tier for like the first time in his career, probably.
Yeah, it's probably very new to him too. He's just playing so bad, doesn't know what's going on really.
Yeah, and also hurts me because I always have like the Halo bias. I like the Halo players a lot, and Hook's. Everybody knows that Hook's always been one of my favorite players, so it hurts me to
Yeah,
talk down on him and put him this low. But he's got to be in C tier now.
yeah. Just thinking Hookah's a C tier player. All I can remember is just him always frying and like
Yeah, it's
Black Ops 4, World War
all these
2.
guys. Octane Arcitys. It's like
I know
these
it's
guys are
so
not C
weird.
tier players, but they're all in here right now.
Yeah, it's so weird.
All right, who we going to next?
Oh, Donnie Temp,
Donnie Temp had a great weekend at the major.
big A tier from Donnie.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's tough to put him in S because qualifiers didn't go great for him and his team, but he fried at the major and he was
Make it
probably
rain,
their
make it
best
rain.
player.
Yeah, 1.10 overall KD,
Yeah, and probably the
2900.
best player on a top 6 team, right?
Yeah, top 10 KD overall. Yeah, A tier, good for Donnie. Make it rain.
Yeah, let's get him an A tier. All right. Oh boy, who do we want to go with? We're spread the list out pretty well. Kind of, we're not really like planning in order. We're just kind of picking out players and throwing them in. But I'm gonna go with another guy that I've got in A tier, unless you have an argument, and that is Mr. Kleenex.
Kleenex, the
I think
fast
he's an
pace.
A tier player. Yeah.
I agree with that. You know, his stats don't show, but does a lot for the team. Just right
Yeah,
down.
I think he's a catalyst for why Scrappy stats look so good right now and Standy looks so
Yeah.
good.
Hmm.
I think a big reason for why those two look so good is because Kleenex is just allowing them to be so free on the map with the pressure he's applying. And I always feel like that about Kleenex. I think Kleenex is like, I think at times Kleenex has been an S tier player and we've ranked him A simply because his stats maybe only show like a low 1.03 or something. But I promise you, Kleenex's 1.03 is better than a lot of SMG's 1.1. And if you're listening to that, like, might sound weird, it might sound like it doesn't make any sense, but like, you know what I mean. Like, Kleenex's 1.03 is more impactful than a lot of players' 1.1s.
Yeah. Right now he's got a .95, but 2700 damage per 10 hard punches.
Mm-hmm.
Fast pace sub.
Kleenex's kills per 10 and damage per 10 in like every mode and like first blood percentage and search is what you got to look at.
Yeah.
Because he's never going to have like the highest KD, but he's making an impact on the map. I promise you. He's a catalyst for why Toronto was our favorite probably to win the major going into Sunday until they weren't anymore.
Yeah, he's got 22.5 kills per 10 hard point.
Yeah.
Which is fairly top, fairly more than top, more than half of the better than of the people
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. So I got Kleenex and AI. I can definitely see the argument because his stats maybe don't show it as much for B tier, but also that Toronto team is fantastic right now.
Yeah.
That also gives him a boost. And I also would say if, like we said, there's a slight aspect of this where we're projecting forward onto Major 2, I think Toronto is going to get better. I think that they're going to finish better than fourth. I think they're going to crack the top 3 at the next major. So, like, projecting forward, I think Kleenex is going to get better. And I think this team is going to get better.
Yeah. Definitely. All right. We're going to Kenny.
Yeah, probably the lowest we're going to place
Mr.
him on the list all year.
YY. Mr. YY not having a great year so far. C tier it is.
I agree. Let's add him to this absolutely wild list of C tier players.
I don't think you could put any of them above Draza. I think Draza's the best one so far, which is not telling you much.
Yeah, you want to just throw Envoy in C tier next to Kenny?
Yeah, they're like all the Octane Kenny Envoy playing basically the same.
I'd say they are maybe the team that has the most potential to move.
Yeah.
Besides maybe LAG, just because their players are all in like bottom C and D. So like I guess if they even finish like top 8, they'd probably have to move up. But like I wouldn't be shocked if we see like Draza stay in B, Kenny and Envoy jump to A, and Octane jump to B, like by the end of the next major. And when we do our next tier list, like this team has mover potential, but right now they're just like the definition of LAT right now is just they're just kind of mid.
It's very very mid.
Yeah, they're mid, but like we're sitting here knowing that at any
They could
point
win they could win it.
yeah, like at any point they could flip the switch and win the next major. But right now they're just kind of they're mid plus, and the
Yep.
plus being potential. Like
Yeah. For all we know, they could win Major 2. We got to put one of them in S.
yeah, I wouldn't be shocked, and I wouldn't be shocked if it was any single one of them either. That's the thing.
I know.
Like if any of these 4 players were S tier by the end of next major, I would be like, yeah, not shocking.
Yeah, for real. That's how this team goes.
Yeah. All right, we're loading up on C tier. Let's get another guy in S tier. Probably, I'd say the 2 we have in there were clear too, and I think this guy is probably the other one that there's maybe a couple more that are clear, but I think Cellium is clear S tier.
Yep. Put MacArthur up in S.
Top KD again. Shocker. We'll probably finish the year with the top KD again.
1.26 overall KD. 2600 damage per 10. Yeah. Sounds about top KD to me.
Yeah, that guy's unreal. He's literally like, it's our
And
joke that we say, like, you look at the scoreboard, he could be 0 and 10 and he'll probably still finish the map positive.
literally just can't seem to kill him too. Always finishes, finds a way out.
Yeah, and it's continued right on into this game. Also,
Yep.
another team that I expect potentially get better. I think a finish higher than 3rd could be in their future. I wouldn't be shocked to see them. I'm probably going to pick them to make the grand final at Major 2 blindly, unless maybe they have a rough stage. But Cellium's an S tier.
Yep. Oh, who should we do next? Major Maniac.
All right, the Florida boy.
He said he had a pretty rough, let's say.
Yeah, we only have one more spot in D tier and a few more spots in C tier. I'm gonna be honest. Looking at the players that are left, I think the last D tier spot is between him and his teammate.
Yeah, we're not putting Major though in D. I can't do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Too typical to put in D. Let's put him in C.
Yep, too typical.
And then let's throw his teammate that we were just talking about. Speed things up here. Get Vickle in D tier. Although I do think, out of respect for where I think these players are at, I'm gonna put Vickle at the top of D tier.
He played pretty, I would say, pretty decently.
Because he had his moments. I think he is a potential. Like I think this isn't a bold prediction at all. Like wow, a guy's gonna go from D to C tier. But I think by the end of next major, we could see him in like potentially C tier, maybe even bottom B. Because I do think he showed signs of improvement. I think honestly, this was just a classic learning curve. And like normally the guys you see in D tier, we want them benched. I don't want Vickle benched at all. I want to see him play this entire year because I think he's a very talented player. And like people said, everybody loves playing with him. Like he's willing to do anything on the map to set his teammates up. That's a player you want to play with. I think he had flashes and maps, but I think at times he just didn't have the correct pace. Was kind of what I noticed this weekend.
Yeah.
Like I thought sometimes he was flying. Yeah, like he was flying too much, and sometimes it was like he slowed it down when he shouldn't slow it down. And like I think he's figuring out how to play with his teammates and figuring out how to play on the pro level. And it was his first like high pressure LAN, and his team, played better than they were expected to. I think Vickle is a very talented player, and I like him to rise. But for now, I'm fine putting him in D. But like I said, I think this guy is very good. It's like in the most respectful way possible. We're putting him in D tier. I think you probably agree, right?
Yeah. Overall, 0.92 KD is not that bad for a first time in the league.
Yeah, and he's playing a tough role.
Yeah, tough role on a team that's not very talented, people would say.
Yeah. But I like him moving forward. He's a player on my watch list. I think by the end of the year, we're going to be saying that he's a mainstay CDL player.
Yep. All right. I'm just going to put the Bulldog. I think we got to put him in A for the MVP of performance.
Yeah, and people might have thought you were going to say S tier instantly. You wanna give a reason why you don't think S tier right now?
It's very close, but I just don't think he's that kind of a caliber player quite yet.
I also think we might have 2 of his teammates going into S.
Yeah, and I would prefer Hydra or Skies over him in S, and we can't put all 3 in S, unfortunately.
And like, if somebody is arguing in the comments right now for Kismet S, I think you would also agree. Like, I think it is completely fair because like he just did win the major MVP, basically signifying that he's the best player at that major. So like, yes, if you want to put him in S tier, I can't argue with you because I mean he just won MVP. Like, how could I argue with you putting him in S? I will say though, I think like with using the whole model of projecting forward a little bit, I think Kismet might go down slightly in his level of play because like this is the best we've ever seen him play. And maybe this is his new peak. Maybe Kismet is that dude and this is how good he's going to be and he's going to shut us up and we're going to have to be putting him in S tier.
Yeah, hopefully, honestly.
Oh yeah, hopefully because I like Kismet. I think he also is a really good teammate. He seems like he's great to play with.
Yeah.
Willing to do anything for you on the map. But I put him at the top of A tier as well, and I think we're going to keep him there because he deserves to be mentioned in that breath with the S tier. But like you said, it's one event. Like we don't want to let recency bias like go too crazy for us because Kismet hasn't been like a top tier player for a long time, but like he's on his way to being a mainstay A and S tier player right now. I want to put him in A and keep him there just because I want to see him do it like one more time, which is like wild to say, but like I mean, last year we did see Spart win MVP and then get benched like 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
So like that's the example I'll use. I don't think that's going to happen with Kismet. I think he's going to continue to be an A tier player all year and be very good. But like there is that example from just last year.
Yeah, A's good for him.
Yeah, and he's an excellent player. He's proved us. I think we had him in D tier in our initial rankings because we didn't know what he was going to do. We thought he might get benched for Wardy.
Yeah. Literally, he was in D and now he's in A.
Yeah. That's freezing cold takes from us because
quickly how things change.
Yeah, that dude's a beast though. All right, let's go to somebody. The B tiers look a little empty. Let me find a player I think is in B tier. Shoot, do I want to put him in B tier? That's kind of wild. I don't know. Let's go. I'm gonna put this guy in B tier. Let's say Slasher.
That's fair.
I think Slasher's a B tier player. I think they finished top 3. He had moments, and specifically the one I remember. I think if I'm thinking of it right, that comeback map they had, Slasher fried.
I believe so.
I always want to call the map a silo, but it's not a silo. It's Bagra, Albagra Fortress. Yeah,
Albagra.
I always want to call it El Silo, but that's not the map. It's Bagra, and he popped off on that comeback. If I'm thinking of the right map, and Slasher overall had his moments. I think he improved the team search and destroy a lot. I think he's the main catalyst for that. I think his leadership in that game mode has helped the team a lot. So I got him in B tier.
Overall in the year, 0.98 KD.
Yeah, I also have crazy Slasher bias. Everybody knows that. I love that dude.
Yeah, B's good for him.
Yeah.
Ooh, oh my lord. Let's go TJ Haley.
Okay. Where you got TJ? Because I have a pretty strong take on TJ. I hope you agree with me. Where do you think he is?
I want to put him in B, but I don't know if I can.
I feel like he's B.
I feel like,
maybe we'll drop him down, but I think like looking at I think right now TJ was better than Draza. His stats overall aren't going to look like they are because he had a rough qualifier, but I feel like on LAN at the major he was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel really good about this Vegas team, this Legion team right now. I feel like they're going to make some improvements, and they're maybe going to be in the market to replace one of their SMGs. It might be TJ, but I think they'd be in the market to maybe replace ProLoot to get a higher upside player. Like if they can get their hands on like a Wardy higher upside.
Yeah.
I like TJB though. I think he's been better than Draws. Like, can you sort by his major 1 stats? I don't think he ended up. I think he had one kind of bad series that might lower it, but like, what did he end up overall at major 1?
1 second. Major 1. Where is he? TJ Haley. He had a 0.95 overall.
Yeah.
22.5 kills per 10. 2,400 damage per point per 10.
What was the search and destroy stats looking like? Because they had a really good weekend in search, and I think he was pretty good in a lot of them.
Kills per round 0.81, which is pretty good.
That's very good.
SND kill death ratio 1.29 and 15% first bloods.
Yeah, 15% first blood. I also saw him drop 15 in a map 5. I think his search and destroy alone. That's what like when you think of TJ, what do you think of initially? Search and destroy.
Yeah,
that's what he's known for. I feel strongly that TJ is B. So unless you disagree, like we can maybe talk C, but I think he's above Draza at the very least. So for now, I think he's got to be in B.
It's funny. Draza's it goes TJ Haley 0.95, Draza 0.95, one above him.
Yeah, and I think that, but I think like KD aside, like did Draza have many winning moments where you're looking at him this weekend or in like major 1? I guess not really. TJ had that 15 kill game 5 that sticks out to me, and like his search and destroy at 1.29 had to be one of like the top few KDs in the tournament in search.
Yeah, definitely.
I've also always been really high on TJ, and to see him finally going through some of his talent and actually like playing up to it gets me hyped for TJ. So I want to put him in B for now. I think we got to give some respect to that search and destroy game because way too much we talk about like respawn slayers and don't give the S&D guys their props.
Wow, I'm just I would put TJ, but just feeling for Draza. I look at major 1 stat. He's a 30% first blood percentage.
Yeah, that's because nobody else in LA team moves in search.
Yeah, that's the highest by far, but yeah, because He's a Hallie's, yeah. Put him in B.
I like him in B because I feel like a lot of people. I also think because of his great performance on land, a lot of people probably expect him to be a C or a D tier player. So
Mhm.
he definitely played above what a lot of people think he was going to
He was
at
feeling
Major
like
One.
Tej.
Yeah, Brock, let's talk about a guy that I want to put in C tier, but you hate him. I think he might even be a fringe B tier player based on some of the performances he had on land. Shockingly, Havoc.
Ooh. Havoc.
I think I'm okay putting him in C because, like, looking down, I see a lot of players that are B tier or better. But I want to put him towards the
Yeah.
top of C because, like, that. I mean, that first OpTic series that they lost, he was piecing up OpTic in that series and Surge
Yeah.
Hardpoint. He was dominating them.
Yeah, you texted me saying Havoc is frying up the grid now.
Yeah, he was cooking them in the series that Florida lost 3-2.
Mhm.
Havoc was cooking them, and he looked really good, which is not something we're used to. A lot of times, Havoc does struggle on land. Uh, but I like Havoc in C tier at the top of it. Like I can even see, like, if you want to argue he's B tier, that'd be a weird turn of events because you're not a big Havoc fan. But
I'm good. He can stay C.
but he impressed me this weekend. I will say he played better than I thought he would.
Yeah,
Got to
definitely.
give him his props for that.
Yeah. Oh, I think okay. I'm just gonna put Lamar Agassi and BD in C.
Yep, I agree. He has his moments, but overall, it's been a little bit of a, I would say, lower year
Roller
than I
coaster
expected.
ride as usual.
I'd say he's below my expectations right now too.
Yeah, he can play better.
Yep, that's 10 of them in C tier too. So we only got 2 more spots left in C.
Oh, jeez. Yeah,
Let's get a guy up in S tier that I think we're gonna agree on pretty easily, and that's
tier.
Hydra.
Yeah, silence the haters and Crim Six.
Yeah, and I mean, once again, one of those guys we talked about with Hook. Obviously, Hook hasn't fulfilled that in a while, but like Hydra, one of the few players in the league that has the talent to be consistently top 5.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, I picked him to win MVP. When Kyle and I did our preseason predictions, I picked Hydra for MVP. This year, I picked Pred. I feel good about that pick, better than I did about Hydra after stage 1 last year.
Yeah.
But we know how good Hydra is. Like, it's never been a question of his talent. It's been putting it all together on one weekend with a team, and they did it. And Hydra's S tier. I don't think there's an argument against that.
Yeah. All right. A good B player is Anthony Zinni Methods.
I agree. Steady as they come for main ARs, but
Very, very steady.
maybe
not always
not the highest ceiling right now.
Yeah, not always a success.
Let's get somebody else here in. Let's fill out our. No, I was gonna say C tier, but that only leaves us one spot. Let's get another guy in B. I think Mr. Nero is a B tier player right now.
I'd say that too.
He had a very, very good Major 1 KD in very limited batches. I think he had like a 1.1 something at Major 1.
Um,
Yeah, obviously it was
yeah,
only 2
1.14.
matches. Yeah, not a ton of sample size there, so a little bit fluky because not many series to go off there. But Nero is a player that I think, as we've seen him since he made his debut, I was a hater of Nero to start the year. I didn't understand why he got the roster spot. He quickly proved me wrong last year in Vanguard, and I think he's only improved. And I think the big thing for him is he always had pop-off moments, but every single series he plays and every single tournament he plays, he gets closer and closer to being consistent, which has been his issue. And he was consistent this weekend, and overall in Major 1 was pretty solid. I think he's a B tier player, and I think he's a sneaky. I think, like, if he can hit this form consistently, he makes Boston a sneaky top 4 contender, like, in the future going forward.
Yeah, definitely.
We know what tier Wake and Vivek can hit, so if they all hit at the right time, whew.
It could be a scary team, Boston.
Yeah.
Ooh. Um, let's go with Abezy. Get him up to A. I don't think he's quite S.
No, I don't think he's quite S either, but we'll put him up in A. I agree with that. Let's get his Tiny Terror duo in A, huh? Simp.
Yeah.
I think Simp is also, once again, we all know at some point he's going to be back in S tier this year, but for now, I think there's a couple players I want to put ahead of him. So Simp and Abezy in A.
Yep.
They kind of go together almost always.
Yeah, Simp on the year is a .99, which is you don't rare to see a below 1.
Yeah, I think it's a little learning curve playing with a new main AR for the first time in a while.
Yeah, definitely.
So that
He'll
gets
pick it
us
up though.
gets a Simp and Abezy up there, an A tier. Let's get one more S tier player up there, and I think it's one that you'll agree with. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'm gonna say Scrappy.
Yep. Scrappy showed out.
And very early for Scrappy to be up in S tier because obviously that was only his first event, but the potential that has been talked about for him and has been raved about, he definitely showed it this weekend, and he was just absolutely going off in some maps. One thing I'll say that maybe could drop him to A tier, he had some consistency issues at times, which is why he's maybe not as no doubt as like I think like Pred, Sib, Cellium, Hydra,
Yeah.
even maybe the other guy we're gonna put on, are like maybe more lock in. Like maybe Sib is the bottom of S or not Sib. Scrappy is the bottom of S just because of that slight consistency issue that he maybe had. But I mean, the
Yeah.
dude was showing out a lot of maps and just frying people.
Trash talking. You know it.
Yeah, we love to see it.
Yeah, he had a 1.14 overall KD so far, which is the fourth highest.
Yeah.
And 2,900 damage per 10 at hardpoint.
Yeah, and the eye test shows you his POV is a little different also.
Yeah, if you watch him, you know how good he is.
You know.
Um,
I actually have somebody that relates to that, but you pick a player first. Maybe you'll pick him. I have somebody that relates to maybe eye test or stats say he's worse, but eye test tells you that he's a little better.
all right, let's go. Attach
Okay.
A tier.
Think so? How many players we got in A? 8? Yeah, 8 players. Look at the players left. Yeah. Look at the players left. I think that's maybe fair for attach.
Yeah.
I feel like he's of the guys in A, I feel like he's maybe the lowest of the guys we have in there now.
Yeah.
Or like towards the bottom, because I think guys like Kismet, Afro, Priesta, Tiny Terror, Scump, probably all ahead of him. But like, I think A is fair. I don't disagree with that. I think
Yeah. He could
really does go there.
potentially. Yeah. That's a good one for attach, I'd say.
I would agree. I'm good with him in A. We still have 3 more spots in A.
Yeah.
That B tier is looking a little empty though. We get 14 guys we have to put in B, and we only have 7 in there right now.
Oh, geez.
Start throwing some guys in there. I think ooh, geez. This is the guy I was actually just talking about. I'll go with the guy I was going to say. A guy that maybe his stats don't show he's as good, but his stats are actually pretty good this year. But the eye test tells you how much he's doing. I always talk about how big of a fan I am of the way this guy plays. Asim.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's been the one bright spot on Ravens, and he's been doing a lot. Early on in the year in the qualifiers, he was like a top tier player for them when they started out 2-0. Team obviously is struggling, but Asim is the fact that this guy bounces around to a new team every year is just criminal. Because if they could get him in a steady situation with a core group of players, like this dude is an incredible player that makes everything easy on his teammates.
Does it all, some would say.
Yeah, B tier player. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, get another guy you think is in B.
Oh my God, Benjamin Bance.
All right. I'm banned. Everybody knows I'm banned from talking bad about Bance, so I'll leave this one to you. Why is he in B? He's an S tier player. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't think he's an A tier player right now, and I don't think certainly he's not a C tier player from the players I've seen there right now.
Intangibles with that guy.
Just what he brings to the overall team aspects. We'll put him in B for now.
Also,
once it start doing better, we'll put him up to A.
do you agree? A reason that you're maybe putting guys like Attach in A, Bance in B is that factor of like the rise factor that we talked about. Like part of this ranking is where we see them going for Major 2. It's a part of the formula, and I don't know if you agree or not, but I think Minnesota is going to improve from their top 8 placing.
Yeah.
I think they're going to finish top 6 or better at Major 2, so I think that'll have a factor, and I do think Bance brings so much to a team. Everybody knows I can't insult Bance. I'm banned from it. So
it is a new team after all. It was the first event.
Yeah, new team, and also like not only a new team, but his first time playing with like a new team in 2+ years. So that maybe does make a difference. Takes a little bit more getting used to.
Yeah.
That gives us 9 players in B. Let me add another guy in B. How about that? Actually, looking at the guys left, I don't know. Does he go in B? He might go in A. Where do you think Cammy goes?
Yeah. How many more we could put at A? 3? I think 3
Put
more.
3 more in A and 5 more in B, and only 2 more in C. Then obviously 1 more in S. I don't think Cammy's C or S though.
Oh, I see like at least 4 could be going A. Oh, it's a tough one actually.
Yeah, it's really tough because the players left. I don't see a ton of A players left. It's not like there's like 6 or 7.
1.1 became overall in the year. 20 heart
Team
punches.
struggle a little bit. And where do we have his teammates at right now? We've got Attach in A, Banthas in B, and Afro's in A. I think B would be fair though, because I do think it'd be pretty wild to put 3 Minnesota players in A with their placing.
Yeah, I think B for now, unless we could change it later if it looks funky.
Yeah, B for now, but extreme riser candidate, and also like you said, maybe towards top.
Yeah.
Once again, like a guy that we both feel very strongly is so good, so he's maybe a major 2 riser, and I think we're both so high in Minnesota, we're not giving up on them yet.
Yeah,
So we
definitely.
both maybe think a little higher on their players than some people do.
Yeah.
Let's go with our last S tier player. Who do you who do you
Okay.
think's our last S tier player?
From the players I've seen, what I've seen so far, I think it has to be a default of Skies.
Yep, I agree.
What you said he had the highest overall major KD?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was the number 1 KD at major. It was either him or Cellium. I'm pretty sure it was him though. Was the number 1 KD at major 1?
Let's see.
Could have been
Yeah,
Cellium, but I
it
think it was
was
guys.
Skies at a 1.23.
Yeah, I mean,
And then
enough
one
said. He was the highest KD player on the team that won the last major, and is overall just a consistent. Also, like consistency is always Skies is always consistently good.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about consistency issues with him. I think definitely he can be a S tier player, our final S tier player.
Yep. That's a good one. Skies.
Oh, we got 3, 6, 9, 10. And get somebody in B tier again. I got 10 of them in there.
B tier. Oh man. Vivid?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at the players. I think I'm good with Vivid in B tier. He had his
Yeah,
pop off moments, but once again, his team has kind of struggled, so we have like a little bit less of a sample size on him, maybe.
yeah.
Go with him in B
I
tier.
think it's a good spot for him. I want to put this other player in C, but I don't know if it
I want to put
might be wild.
Standy in A. Let's get him in A.
I'm fine with that. Finished 4th overall.
He also had some very good. He had some moments this weekend. I keep saying this weekend, but and he had some moments in Major 1, where I was saying like that's the Standy I remember from Cold War that we were missing last year. Like that's the superstar caliber player I remember seeing. Like he had some moments like that, and yeah, I think the map has been opened up for him more with Kleenex, and it was one of the better tournaments we'd seen Standy play in a little bit here. And I got him in A tier. I think he's poised, and I think that whole Ultra team is bound to have a very good year this year.
Yep. All right. How many do we want?
We should have 10 in A, 11 in B, and also 10 in C. So we got 2 more spots in A, 2 more spots in C, 3 more spots in B.
2 more spots in C?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We'll go with Clay. Go Clayster.
You got him in where?
Oh, I want to put him in B.
Yeah, I'm looking at the players left. I see maybe 1 or 2 we go with an A at least. I see a for sure C player. See a couple fringe Bs. Yeah, I'm good with Clay and B. He hasn't had the best stats, but like I feel like he made some pretty big impact plays.
But he's like turned around. Not Paris, Vegas,
Yeah.
kind of all around look pretty good so far.
I think like the immeasurable stat of making Vegas finish top 6 is part of Clay's leadership and ability to get that team in place.
Yep.
So I'm good with him in B. Then that gives us what 12 and B. Yeah, I'm good with that. We're still at our 10 and A. Or our 10 and C. I'm gonna get our 11th guy in C. Are you good with 0 in C?
Yeah.
Solid player, but nothing special so far this year.
Yeah. Who I want to put? I'm gonna put Mac in C as well.
Our final C player, yeah. How do his stats overall compare to Nasty? Because I think of the players left, I think it's between. I think our last spot in C is up for debate between Nasty and Mac.
Mac is. Where's Mac?
Because I mean, like maps like the map that they choked, he was like 17-3 early on in it. And like we've seen Mac have pop off moments. Obviously, we've been talking about it a lot this podcast. Like the consistency issue for him is the major issue.
So Max right now overall is at a 0.94 KD, 21 and at 0.8 kills per 10 hard point, 2492 damage per 10 hard point.
What's Nasty at?
And Nasty's at a 0.98. Basically, they're for the same amount of kills, 21 per 10 hard point and 2600 damage per 10 hard point.
I think Nasty's S&D numbers are also better.
Yeah, 1.110 for Nasty, 50% first blood percentage compared to 0.71 and 10% first blood.
Yeah, I thought the S&D was better for Nasty, but I didn't know it was that much better. Yeah, we can go Mac and Mac, our final player in C, and then might as well just gives us right 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, so then might as well throw Nasty in B.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's 13 players now. Yeah, that's 13 players now in B. So we get one more player in B, and 2 of them have to go to A.
Oh my
Are we
God.
good with Shotzi in A?
Yeah.
And
the last 2. Oh my God.
I think Shotzi's the clear A from the last 3, but we're left with Dashy and Insight. If you're wondering if you're on the audio platform and you can't see the last 2 players we've got Dashy and Insight are our final 2 players, and one has to go in A and one has to go in B based on our requirements, unless we want to drop anybody from A down to B to fill the last spot. That's a possibility.
Let me read off the overall KDs for Dashy and Insight so far.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Insight's at a 1.09 KD, 18 kills per 10 at hard point.
Yeah.
Lower on the damage side, only 2200 per 10 for hard
Slow
point.
player though, as you can see by the 18 kills per 10.
Yeah, 1.25 SCD KD, 10%
That's what I thought.
first blood percentage. Dash is at a 1.02 on the year, 18.8 kills per 10, and 2500 damage per 10 at hard point. For Surge, he's at a 1 KD on the dot with a 10% first blood percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And his control KD is 1.07. Usually pretty good. Best game mode for him, usually.
Yeah, so my thoughts when I saw these 2 players was people are going to be pissed, but I thought Insight's been better than Dashy. And
I agree.
Their pacing stats are consistent with each other. Like overall, their damage and kills per 10 are pretty consistent with each other, but overall the numbers favor Insight. And I thought so far that eye test is favorite Insight and his team's better. So I think kind of just flat out Insight's got to go ahead of Mr. Dashy, and then I think Dashy goes in B tier. I'll even throw him at top of B, but like Dashy really, it's been the worst I can remember Dashy looking since MW 2019 when he was on the OGLA squad. Mm-hmm. Hasn't been a great start for Dashy.
Yeah, Insights basically have better overall stats besides like hardpoint damage, just a little bit better overall.
Yeah,
than Dashy. So I agree. I would put Insight A and Dashy in, believe it or not, B.
And I think that the eye test tells me that Insight's been better than Dashy as well.
Yep, I agree.
All right, so I will. We went a little long on this spot, but I mean that's kind of what happens with these tier lists.
Yeah,
I'll read off the tiers for anybody on the audio platforms who can't see them. I'll read off what players we have in each tier, and then we'll wrap it up. So in our top tier, our S tier, we've got our 6 players are Pred, Sib, Cellium, Hydra, Skies, and Scrappy. In A tier, our 12 players are Kismet, Afro, Priesta, Simp, Standy, Abezy, Scump, Temp, Kleenex, Attach, Shotzi, and Insight. And then in the B tier, our 14 players are Dashy, Cammy, Slasher, Awakening, Brack, TJ, Methods, Nero, Draza, Asim, Bance, Vivid, Clay, and Nasty. And then C tier, some wild names in here that we're not used to seeing in C tier. We've got 12 players. Havoc, Arcitys, Illey, Octane, Prolute, Hook, Kenny, Envoy, Accuracy, Major Maniac, Zero, and Mac, and then our 4 players in D tier are Vickle, Paul, Neptune, and Spart. I feel pretty good about this list overall.
I did too.
It's a lot of candidates for movers, which is exciting because we've got a lot of normal top tier players in C tier, even some top tier players in B tier, and we've even got some new faces that aren't typically up in the A and S tier, so they have maybe a chance to drop. Players got a chance to rise. I think for the first time in a while, I see a guy that I think is a clear riser in the D tier. Even I think Vickle has a very good chance to rise up the ranks. So I'm excited to see how this changes. We're probably going to try to do one if the schedule makes sense, following each major. If there's like a week break, maybe try to do one each time if there's not any crazy roster mania stuff. But you got anything else before we wrap it up?
No, it's just fitting to see Santa with 2 S tier, the Shaq and Kobe duo up top, Super Pred, and then the duo at the bottom, Accuracy and Mac at C. Just evens it out.
Yeah, I mean that's the story of that team. That's the reason that they are able to make a finals, because they have Shaq and Kobe, and then they got their other guys that, like, the reason they're in the finals because those 2 guys randomly had 40-point performances in the playoff run.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, I got nothing else. We can wrap this one up.
I got an overall good list.
Yeah. If you guys enjoy this one on YouTube, I had a little video portion for you guys to speak with the tier list. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe if you're enjoyed and you're not subbed. We're obviously the big goal for this year. We stated it before the year was to hit 1,000 subs by the end of the MW2 season. But right now the goal is 900, the short-term goal. So if you guys could help us achieve that, that would be amazing. If you're on the audio platforms, be sure to drop a follow, drop a 5-star review if you're able to on that platform you're listening on. We are on Apple Podcasts now, as well as Spotify and Google Podcasts, and all audio listening platforms. So go check us out on there and drop a review on there. Maybe if we get some reviews on, I believe the only one you can leave an actual written review on is Apple Podcasts. Maybe if we get some reviews on Apple Podcasts, if I haven't checked them or really even looked at them, because for a while there it was like blocking us from putting anything on Apple Podcasts. So go look if anybody wants to drop a review on there. Maybe we'll read it on the podcast if we get some 5-star reviews or something. But that's going to do it for this one. We have another week or 2 where we don't have any matches, so we'll figure out some more stuff to do next week. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.